Good morning, Get Well Soon family.
And happy Sunday.
This is your host, Tyler Kidd.
And your co-host, Angelina Mesa.
And we are back with season 3. We have Heart to Heart. Literally screaming. We are back better than ever. We have upped our equipment. We have upped our settings. We have upped ourselves. Angelina is slaying in nursing school. I am
slaying in life.
Yeah, we're trying the best. But we're here to bring you guys season 3. So we hope you guys are ready because we are so fucking ready. And our lineup is...
It's crazy.
Chef's kiss. So let's get into it. Hello. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good.
I'm excited. Guys, this is Jocelyn Banks. This is Angelina's sister. And we have a lot of fun stuff to get into. Childhood trauma to adult, marriage, your mom. Some people would say crunchy mom. We were just talking about that before we started. Guys, I don't know if you guys know what crunchy mom is, but it's like the most like BS thing I've ever heard. It's like, oh my God, they're healthy. Shocker. No, let's just like put weird labels on them.
I mean, I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
I'm a home health nurse, so love my job.
Okay.
I do. I love my job because I now can take I'm a nurse by myself. I don't have to follow, yes, I follow doctor's orders, obviously. Yes. But I kind of can give my 2 cents in from like my own experience and...
You don't have to conform.
Listens, yes.
Yes.
Obviously, it's up to the mom to decide what she wants to do with her child, and that I respect it because being a mom is hard, and I never put judgment on that. Like, it's your decision, but I take it very serious what I'm putting in my kids' bodies and what I'm doing for them.
Yeah.
So
I'm super big on childhood development, and I usually will talk about it on like a mental type of level, so I'm excited to talk about it on like a health. And just before diving into some of our like question cards, you said you're a home health nurse, so you basically go and help treat inside the home.
Correct.
Is it just kids or?
I work for pediatric office. Yes.
Okay.
I just have one client,
okay.
So I work with her Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays, and I'm like part of their family.
Well, I would hope so because I wouldn't want someone helping me treat my kid if I didn't trust you, stuff like that. You have to have, because I have a friend who doesn't work in home health, but she works with children and their families and parents. And some of the stories she tells me, I'm like, it's so crazy. Like sometimes the parents just really aren't on board for wanting what's best for their child. Mm-hmm. They'll either want what's best for them, or the ego comes into part where it's like having somebody tell you like, no, this would be better for your kid, and instead of like actually listening to criticism, they're like, I know what's best, and then they like fuck their child up. So like for you to be with a family that's like they trust you, you guys, you're part of the family. Like I feel like that's such.
Like I'm theirs, literally.
Yeah, well, you have to do that. That's great.
Yeah, I love my job. I seriously wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh, you have to love what you do. I tell people that if you're in a job that you don't like, that's fine, but work towards getting into a job you do like, because you're going to spend your life miserable if you're doing a career that doesn't fulfill a part of you. And speaking about who you are as a person and like what goes into it, when I had asked you like to describe yourself in 3 words, do you remember what you said?
I don't even remember.
No, Angela said the same thing. She was like, I probably had Savannah in my lap. I probably was like trying to type as fast as I could.
Yeah, exactly. I was probably doing 50 other things.
At the same time. We love multitasking. Yeah. That's all right. It was passionate, strong, and dependable, which I feel like literally goes hand in hand. You're helping take care of a child, which any child that's sick, not feeling well, having certain issues, I feel like is kind of like hard on the heart, because especially you have kids, and then being passionate about what you do, and also dependable, which is you have to as a mom, a wife, and taking care of someone else's kids. Would you say 3-5 years ago you would use those same 3 words?
No, I wouldn't. Because as soon as I got pregnant with my daughter is when I really took into consideration the passion I have for being a mom and making informed decisions.
Okay.
So it's like very broad to say, but like I don't know that a lot of people take the informed decisions seriously as a mom.
No, I know a couple.
Yeah.
Not as much as they should.
No, and it's, again, I'm not going to sit here and like judge, but like lazy parenting can be very easy. Mm-hmm. It can be easy because it's like, whatever, just give them what they want. Like, give them what they fucking want.
Let them
and
scream.
Have them shut up.
Yeah. And that's why when I talk about childhood development and like, so I have no kids, but I have a brother that's 2 years younger than me that I basically like raised him as I was getting raised. And then I have a 10-year-old brother that like my mom and family would joke around like that's my son, but it's literally like I was taking him out of the crib when he was crying and bringing him into my bed for like the first year. He was like, he like didn't sleep in the crib. He was just me in his bed. I'm like, my mom's like, I don't know if that's like good. And then I moved down. I started sleep. First of all, we just got him to stop sleeping like with us, which is like not a good thing. But it was just, he was so used to it. And he's like my best friend. I love him. He had told me, he was like, oh, I listened to one of the podcast episodes. I was like, no. It's like teenage and above. Like you can't. I say something. No, I'm like I don't want you to like this perfect little. He thinks I'm like the most perfect person in the world, and then literally I'm on here. I'm like I've tried to do this, and that, and I was like let's just know when you're older, 100%, because you're probably gonna have the same traumas that I did. But just him. He's so intelligent. We never did screen time or anything like that. Like he's always been like want to play, all that stuff. He knew the scientific names of dinosaurs before he even knew like basic. Insane. And like when you have kids like that, you can either lazy parent them, and I think that stunts the potential that they have to grow really as children, or you can like really feed into them mentally, physically, what you're eating. Now I will say my little brother, when it comes to like my mom makes sure that you eat, like, that you have a good dinner, always like vegetables, chicken. But other than that, he'll have like 7 bags of Doritos in his bed. And I'm like, what are you? And then dinner, I'm not hungry. I'm like, yeah, well, no crap. You're filled up on junk food. And I was just with him the other day and I'm just like, why are you always so like ashy? Like your lips are always cracked. I buy him so many chapsticks and I'm like, you're dehydrated. Like your body is literally screaming at me that you need water. Like, do you drink it? And he's like, sometimes. And I'm like, no, like you have to drink it all the time. And so I do think, and I'd say my mom lazy parents, but I could say that she's a very much the average. There's so much busyness in life that people will sometimes be like, oh, well, I work all the time. And it's like, that's okay. But at the same time, your kid doesn't have anybody. Like until your kid's old enough to.
And I completely get it because I feel like I was definitely with one kid versus 3. Like I was definitely more like I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Like with my son, like I obviously found like the cleanest baby food that I could give him. I mean, it wasn't shelf life stable. It needed to be refrigerated. Like it was, I don't know, Once Upon a Farm. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but like
no, but they probably do. Me, I'm over here. I'm like I know like wine so, like, brands,
but like with my first daughter, I was like. I mean, I was steaming the vegetables. I'm like making beets. Like it was just like I was making everything from scratch. And it's like life gets busy, but there's always an alternative.
And I think also it's intentions. So like if you have no intention of paying attention to stuff like that and doing stuff like that, and, well, then that's where the lazy parenting. Now, if you have the intention, but you had a shit week, you're sick, you have, things like that. And I do think moms, dads, parents, so just speaking about moms, because we obviously have you on right now, I think that there's a lot of grace that moms should give themselves, because especially when you have multiple kids. And I used to nanny, not like I took them home with me, not like I woke up, like I had to be with them when I was sick. I nannied for 6 months. There was like 23 of them. And they were from the ages, the nanny kids, from 6 to like a year and a half, 2 years. And then the lady I was nannying for, she had 11 kids herself, all from the ages of 17 down to 5.
I can't even imagine.
And I would be in there like, oh my, like I'm so glad that you guys get picked up. Like I loved them, first of all. That's when I realized I would say like, okay, I can have 6 kids. Because the way I was in there, and I was fine, but like sometimes I would have to like step away because I'm like, you just bit the shit out of me and you just punched me in my left eye. You just pinched my backside. You're smacking him. You're screaming for a Cocoa Melon. It's on the screen. You're still screaming. I'm like, I'm going to like lose my mind. Let alone
6 kids or 3. Like that's literally life. If it's not one, it's the other.
Yeah. And so, but moms, I'm like, a nanny's a whole different thing. Mom, it's 24/7. Like unless you're at work or whatever. But even still, then are they really like out of your brain? Like, do you ever get like a moments of what your brain, like what your head was like before a kid? No,
because no matter what, even if I'm away from them, I'm always thinking about them and thinking about what I need to do for them. Like it literally never ends.
Noted. Every time I talk to somebody, I'm like, I'm staying strong on the 6 kids. But sometimes I hear things and I'm like, oh my God, to think about 6 kids 24/7. I'm like, I can barely like.
I was like, I want a whole army of kids, and I had one, and I was okay. She was like my angel. Like, she was okay. I was like, I can have another. Like, no problem. Well, she was 7 months old, found out I was pregnant. I was not expecting it to be that soon, but we figured it out, and, we had 2, and I was like, this is it. I'm never having kids again. They're 15 months apart. I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was going to go crazy. And then she turned 1, and I was like, nope, I'm ready for the next one.
I know. I love that. And then you had a son.
Yeah.
So it's cute because you have the 2 girls and the boy. I always say like, and there's like the saying about it, when someone's like, I hate kids, it's a red flag, because you don't have to want kids, but to hate kids, that is a red flag. Because even if they're snotty and they're gross and they're like sometimes like really bratty and can say the craziest things to you about yourself, I think it's so fulfilling to be around kids, to watch them, especially when they first start to get their personality and it's coming out, and you're like, you're not a little blob of bones and matt. Like, you're like making facial expressions and you're rolling your eyes at me. And I'm like, I think that's such a cute. I love babies, are like my favorite thing ever, especially when they can't talk yet.
Oh yeah. I love my son to death. I'm like, can you just stay this age?
He's forever. So how old are all 3 of your kids right now?
Starting at 4.
Okay.
Then my middle daughter just turned 3 in April.
Okay.
And my son will be 1 next month. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel like? Yeah, I was just
No,
saying.
it doesn't feel like a year went by.
Mm-mm.
So much happened last year.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I lost both my grandparents.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I moved into their house. I bought their house. Yeah, so that's like my
cute.
childhood house, and we now live in it.
I like love everything, like your like moves, like your lifestyle moves. I love that. You're like, I'm just having my babies, not planned, but it's fine.
But this is how my life is, though. Like, I didn't plan on buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously didn't plan on my grandparents dying either. I mean, yeah, we all want our grandparents to live forever. My grandparents were young, though, so I never expected them to die in their 60s.
Mm.
So that was tough. But this is like all goes with my whole routine of life. Like, I wasn't planning on buying a house, and it fell into my lap.
I love full circle moments. I'm a very like spiritual woo-woo. The universe will do things that are crazy. Like, it really is. They'll punch you in the. It'll feel like a punch to the face, but then it's really like, no, actually, this is what we were doing with this. And your parents, obviously, like you said, you want your grandparents to be there. I have only lost one of my like grandparents, and I was like really young. I always say, like, when my grandfather goes, like, I'm going with him. That is my best friend. So I understand like having two, like that would be, I just don't even know.
I come from a household where my parents were 20 when they had me.
Yeah.
So my grandparents were huge. Like, my mom still lived with my grandparents, so I lived there. My nursery was in the house that I live in now. So my son's nursery was my nursery.
Stop.
So
that is
like
so...
Yeah, it's like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandparents were literally my childhood. Like, when my mom worked on the weekends, I went camping with them. Like, we did things. Like, all my memories are with them.
Oh, I really love that you get to be in their house and raise your own kids.
I'm exactly where I need to be, and it's actually more, I think, settling to know, like, that they're gone and I'm now in their home. I think it's easier to deal with.
And and I also, not on like a, oh my God, haunted level, like, I'm such a big energy person. And well, first, I think there's like leftover energy, that's the type of thing, but also I'm 100% without even like knowing your grandparents, the home or whatever, they're there, and like you're right where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
The Get Well Soon podcast is brought to you by New Jersey Holistic Healing and Wellness. At New Jersey Holistic Healing and Wellness, they believe that balance is the key. That's why they consider the entire person as well as the internal and external factors that affect them. And as you guys know, I've been coming here we have to be coming on the 2-year mark. I really should see so that I can talk about the progress in a timeline. But when I first came here, I was coming weekly. I didn't want to talk. I hated everything about it. It was my first male counselor. I had never had good experiences going to therapy. Growing up as a child, you know, I had people that would like put hate in my heart and be like, oh, well, you need to hate this person. You need to cut them off and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, that's not like healing the problem at hand, or, you know, just the medications. Because I grew up in a toxic household. I have so much love for my mom because she made sure the lights were on and fed and stuff like that. But when it comes to nurturing and stuff like that, I think that people either become a better person because of their traumas. That's, I think, the whole point of lessons like that, or you become your traumas. And I grew up with a mom who was very much in her traumas, and my mom had me at 20, like she was young. Her and my dad split, like it was, you know, all that stuff. I had all the fun first child experiences, and then eventually I got older and I was like, I'm done taking them. I stopped going to therapy. I stopped, like, you know, whatever. So when I was really getting back into unlearning and getting through all my traumas and just, I mean, I was severely depressed growing up. I had hit like an absolute rock bottom, multiple, you know, suicide attempts. I was like, I just don't want to feel like this. Like, I want to learn, like, I want to love life. I want to love myself, and I want to be happy. Like, why? I don't want to be miserable 24/7. And so my friend was like, you know, go to holistic counseling. And I'm like, yeah, so they can put me on. She's like, no. Like, they really won't put you on medications. That's the whole point. So I came, and at first I was like, this is like weird. I don't want to talk to people. I've been very much to myself. I've always like handled things myself. So going or like leaning on other people, super hyper independent. I think it's what it's called, or hyper independence. And then I would say like by like the third appointment, I was like, oh no, this is not like traditional therapy. This is not, you're not about to tell me that all these things are wrong with me and I need to be on. No, like you actually want to like talk to me about, oh yeah, well, you run away from that, but is it because of something now? Or like as a child, and I'd be like, nobody ever asked me about like things when I was a child. Like, I don't even know. And then you start to like really, and so I went from going weekly to bi-weekly. And now I just started going just monthly as kind of like a nice sit down.
It's cool because I just feel like a lot of therapies are driven to medicate first and maybe then talk. Like,
which is like, I'm numb. I have nothing going on. You're slowing down the brain processing, which is literally what they are. And
then there's side effects to everything. So that's just like why I put my my knowledge into everything that I do and every decision that I make as a mom. And even just for me, like carrying a child or breastfeeding, like what you put into your body is so important. And a lot of the things that we use, like products we use and like things that we ingest, influence mental too. Like
everything, because it's your entire, from head to toe. It's a full functioning. My friend Miranda, she is in dentistry, and I learned through her that how you take care of your dental, it goes straight down into your gut tract. So if you're not brushing your teeth, well then now you're going to have problems all down below. And I was like, I mean, it makes sense, but you wouldn't think about that because you're not taught about things like that. You're taught how to work a 9 to 5 and you're not really taught how to do student loans. You just kind of like, you go to college and then you spend the rest of your life in debt. No, like let's actually, and then health class, they teach you, well, this is what a penis is and this is what a vagina is and this is what happens if they come together. But how about my skin's my biggest organ? How about I should be using sunscreen? All that, they don't teach any of that, at least not here. I know that other places are different.
No,
but
that's everywhere. I mean, if I could, I would literally homeschool all my kids because I'm so tired of the
school system.
Yeah.
I have real big beef with the school systems. Everybody knows I have a lot of beef with a lot of systematic things, especially here just in America. Because I went to London and Amsterdam last year. It was my first time leaving the country, but I went to Amsterdam, and it is. And I'm not saying that Amsterdam has like I don't know how they're schooling or whatever, but you could tell through the people, through how they looked, how they talked, how they moved. I'm allergic and I can now say in the US because I found out that it's not everywhere. I have weird allergies. I'm allergic to all raw fruits and vegetables. However, if they're cooked, I don't have a reaction. And sometimes like strawberries would literally make me break out in hives all over my mouth and like in my throat. But then I can have it in like if I have them by themselves. But if I have them like kind of like if they're like in a jam or anything like that, I'm perfectly fine. Tomatoes.
That's so weird.
And not all nuts, but almonds only, peanuts. Anyway, so I went to Amsterdam and they brought out, I had a breakfast that had a tomato slice on it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to break out in hives. But there was a language barrier. I low-key didn't want to send it back. I was like, I'm just going to cross my fingers. I'll take allergy medicine when I get back. I had not a single freaking problem. That was like on the first day. So then I spent the entire trip, we were there for a week, just like eating foods that I couldn't hear. I was perfectly fine. We had no bloating. We had no stomach issues. I did not get a single hive, eating all these raw fruits and vegetables.
It's anywhere out of the U.S., I'm telling you.
And I also just said this last step, like, when they were talking about how the synthetic chicken got passed in FDA, or I don't even know how that freaking happens. I swear the last time I bought chicken breast, it melted. I saw, it was the most disgusting. I don't even know what it was. I threw it out. I didn't even finish cooking it, and I have not bought chicken since. I do ground turkey. I think it's a reason why you were speaking about as a mother, what you ingest. I think that's why there's kids coming out with issues. I think that, everyone's like, oh, well, and there's like a lot of diagnosis happening, but it's like, not that that's not always been there, but people, because I think what the thing is that
that's their way of covering their ass.
Of course.
I mean, our autism rates are...
But apparently it's just, oh, well, testing's better now. I'm like, no.
You didn't see people toe walking back then, stimming, not being able to control their behavior, throwing themselves on the ground. Like, there is so much that... And autism is a spectrum.
Yeah.
I have a brother with autism, and that's kind of where my knowledge based off of. Why are kids having cancer? Like, this is where...
The cancer conversation pisses me off, too.
I talk about informed consent, and I mean, whatever, you can call me what you want. I don't vaccinate my kids, so if I'm anti-vax to you, like, whatever it is. Like, yeah. Whatever you want to call it, I am pro-informed consent.
Okay.
Like, I want you to make sound decisions for your kid based off of knowledge that you do for your own good. I mean, it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
You go to the doctors, you go to a vaccine appointment, ask for the insert. Just ask for it. Nobody does.
No.
They just do what the doctor says.
So I didn't get, I've always done like vaccinations growing up. I didn't do the COVID vaccination. The amount of shit I got for that, I was like, but why? First of all,
I got fired for that.
And like, I'm like, that's crazy. And the way that it was like, oh, it's exempt for certain people on a religion base. I'm like, so are we even doing science anymore? Or like, what do you mean? Because
But here's the thing. Like, I worked for CHOP.
So you got fired.
Yeah.
You were working at CHOP.
I filed a religious exemption and I got fired. Because they wouldn't. I appealed it, I want to say twice. I wrote like a huge letter and they denied me. Basically because I had my childhood vaccines.
Do you watch The Handmaid's Tales?
Okay, so I started watching that. I never finished it. This is my problem. I start shows and never...
I want to talk about, but it's just like sometimes I hear things and there's things in that show that happen like now and have been happening, and then like progressively are getting worse. And I'm just like, it just doesn't like feel right. Spooky. But so obviously everyone knows I would say like I'm not in the medical field, and I don't. Hello. I'm like, where's my eye? I'm not a professional. I don't go to the doctors. Like, I will if something's wrong. I go for my yearlies just to do full run work. You medically tell me I'm okay. I'll handle just knowing myself and being able to feel when something's wrong. So if anything I say that you're like, well, that's not true. Okay, sorry. I'm just going off of an average person's education on a full medical scale. Having a vaccination does nothing to stop you from giving it to anybody. It is strictly just to help your body process it, correct?
Correct.
So what about a vaccination? What about you not getting something for you means that you have to be fired from your job? It's not like you getting the vaccination is going to stop you from giving it to anybody. If I don't want to put, my eye's going to start twitching because I'm going to get pissed off, because this is one of those things when they were like talking about you can't go here, you can't do that. I was like, okay, I had it 3 times. And I had 3 different versions of it. I was almost close to dead. That wouldn't have mattered if I had the vaccination because you guys didn't have it out then yet. Then I had it the second time. I lost my smell for like 6 hours and I was perfectly fine. And then the third time I didn't even know I had it. And it's when I came back from Amsterdam actually. And my one friend tested and I was like, well, I'm just going to stay inside because I can already, I do have it. I felt like absolute shit. But it's Since when can I not control what I want put inside me? I don't want the vaccination. You don't even know what you're putting in.
I just feel like everybody just doesn't have, like, they feel as though, like, if you don't get it, then you're going to be exposed to it, and then you can spread it to people who are immunocompromised.
But you were going to spread it regardless if you were vaccinated or not.
Right. Like, I think people think that once you have a vaccine, you can never contract any illness that you're vaccinated
My mother literally was like, you need to get the vaccination so you never get it again. I was like, that's not, it's actually going to give it to me.
People still are getting it. And people are actually getting more health issues from the COVID vaccine.
That's what I mean, how long was it really in the labs?
Like,
how long was it in the labs?
Well, myocarditis was never a normal thing in kids. Why is it coming about? Why are kids having myocarditis?
And what is that?
So it's like it's with your heart.
Okay.
So it's a heart, I mean, basically a heart disease, I guess they would consider it. People are now suffering from that, but I'm like, that's not normal.
No, but I
said this from the jump. I'm like, when you're releasing this for kids, let's just take note that this isn't normal in kids. Like, all these things that are possible side effects of this vaccine are not normal. If food said that, like, if there was commercials, like, for food that said that, people wouldn't eat that food.
No. But they're not going to, because the cheaper, the better. I fully agree. And it really was, like, eye-opening to me when I really did leave the country. We were outdoors. Like, they would make sure, like, they would have people come to us and speak to us about our diets and teach us the colors of how they were like, eat your rainbow, and they would do that. And I felt like it was like implemented growing up. They would have that one like event where the most active kid got like all these things. I forget what it's called. They like go school to school. They used to do like run like the 1K or like, but it was like the kids version. They don't do any of that anymore. And like, you're not even trying to get the kids to be healthy, and it is a shame, because they're the people that are going to make up your next generation. And you put an iPad in front of them, you give them a bunch of junk food, a bunch of like crap, you have them vaping, you have them doing all this flavored air type of, like, you're watching literally an entire, I would say, like an up and coming, I don't know. Like,
I mean, it's even like the generations now, though. Like,
100%.
Nobody wants to work. Nobody has drive. Nobody has, like, I feel like, okay, yeah, our economy isn't great.
Yeah.
Like, it is hard to live in this day and age. Like,
but you have to want to.
Yeah.
You have to want to. I always say, like, I talk a lot about manifesting what you really want in life, but you also have to put the action behind it. Yeah. My life is a pure reflection of everything I looked at, said I wanted it, and I went and I got it. It doesn't mean
it doesn't get handed to you.
No.
And I think that's the problem with these upcoming generations, is they think things are just going to be handed to them, and it's going to be...
I would even say they have to work harder than we've had to work, if I'm being honest. With how things are going, you're going to have to fight for yourself more.
It's going to keep getting worse and worse. Like, you're going to have to keep working harder.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that's just life.
There are people who do it gets handed to them, and you can't sit there and be like, oh, well, why didn't it get it didn't. So you got to pick it up. Like, for me, I bought my first car myself. I was working at Taco Bell, then I was working at 2 jobs. Like, and then I had friends who their parents were buying them a new car every year, straight from whatever. But it doesn't matter. Okay, I didn't get that.
Right.
So there
was always a lesson behind everything that I've got in my life.
Yes.
To anybody else, maybe they feel that I've been handed stuff. I mean, my parents had a Sweet 16 for me. I got so much money because my family is just so big.
Yeah.
So all the money that I got for my Sweet 16, I bought my car that was used, and like...
I bought my car and it had maggots in the back seat. The passenger window didn't go down, and the horn was a clown refurbished. Like,
this is what you have to do to start.
And I did it, and I totaled it in less than a year, and then I had to get another car. And it's just, it doesn't matter how bad it is for me and somebody else. If it's going good for you,
social media
is
so bad.
Yeah,
because
it doesn't have to be, but we use it for
what somebody is posting. Like, I'm just gonna bring up Easter. Like,
okay.
I get my kids things that they need. I always grew up, like, for Easter, I got a bathing suit. Like, that was our
cute.
Tradition.
Yeah.
So I continued that with my kids. I got them a bathing suit. I got them Crocs because that's all they wear in the summer. Like, they needed new Crocs. Like, they needed a bathing suit. And then I go on social media and it's like people have like multiple baskets for each of their kids. And I'm just like, what are we teaching? What are we teaching right now?
Yeah.
We're teaching that the Easter Bunny is like some rich guy that just like drops a load of shit off. And like, I just can't comprehend it. And I also fall into the trap sometimes where I'm like for Christmas, I'll be like wrapping their stuff and I'm like, this doesn't look like a lot, but I spend a lot. Like, and it doesn't matter what I spent because they'll open one gift and be satisfied. Like, we teach our kids to like,
I think there's also
spoiled.
And but you have to balance. You have to be balanced with it too.
Correct.
Like I think
I love spoiling my kids.
Exactly.
I love spoiling my kids.
Especially if you weren't able
not getting a toy every time we go to the store. Because that's not teaching them anything.
Yes. Or like for me, it's I think before, because I have like my thoughts be like everywhere. I'm surprised that I've actually stayed on such a track this episode. But for Easter baskets, to give an outside perspective, my mom was the candy mom.
Yeah.
My mom, for the past 24 years, has gotten me Peeps. Well, obviously, I don't know what I got when I was like little, but Peeps. I hate Peeps. I have never liked Peeps. I tell her every year, I'm like, Mom, I don't like the Peeps. I always forget. Every year, there's Peeps in my basket to where my brothers look forward to it because they're like, can I get your Peeps? And I'm like, all right, so I guess I'll have like the one Snickers at the bottom. Like, I'm like, I don't, it's like, so to me, it's like, I don't even, this year, it was a card. And I was like, oh, and she was like, it was a Starbucks gift card. And I was like, I actually use this. I was like, I go to Star. I was like, wait, this is like the best Easter ever. And she was like, all these years I've been doing the baskets. And I said, yeah, and you've been getting me Peeps. And I don't even like Peeps. I actually like this. I want this. And it was like, I was like, no, this is like great. And I'm always somebody for my birthday. I don't ask for anything. Let me see. Like, and when you get like personality gifts or what people think. So like I'm traveling a lot right now. So a bunch of my friends got me like a cute cover for my passport. And I think for Christmas too, obviously when you're like little, I don't know. I probably did want everything in the magazines. We used to like my family used to make us sit there, go through the toy magazines, circle everything we wanted for Santa, and then Santa would bring it to us magically from the magazine. And so I did grow up with that. But once I would say probably like teenage years, I stopped asking. I would just say like, here's my sizes that I'm in right now. The one Christmas I wanted nothing but a camera. So I literally, and everybody, all my cousins and stuff are getting all these gifts. And my mom was like, she pulled me aside. And she was like, I'll get you the camera, but I can't get you any more presents. Right. Like, and so Christmas morning comes, we're all doing it. We have huge family traditions in my family. Yeah. And my mom, like, she was so upset because she was like, you only had one gift to open. Like, I feel so bad. And I was like, what do you mean? This is my best day of my life. I have my first Canon camera. Like, and so I do think, and it shouldn't be about that. And that's a lesson to teach kids of getting them, if you're going to get them a bunch of gifts, make it things that are like, don't just get the number one thing trending on TikTok. Like, is it something that they're interested in? Is it something that's going to build a bit? Because how many toys get bought? And then we get played with Christmas morning and then we're never touched again. With,
like when family asks like what to get my kids. Like, get them experiences or get them clothes because we can always use clothes. I don't want more toys in my house.
No.
I don't. Like, I don't remember ever having the amount of toys that my kids have ever in my life. I don't even think with all the years combined.
I had Beanie Babies. That was it. I had Beanie Babies.
That I'm saying I was deprived as a kid.
No. But there's what's the thing? Consumerism and stuff like that. There's 1,000. I had a baby that ate food that I could, and that was fun. Like the babies you could like mix the powder with, and he would eat it, and then they would poop. They'd be alive. Yeah. Like good. Teach me how it is to change a diaper. I learned some living skills there. But
I get my kids all like realistic toys, which are like so cute to me. Like there's like Melissa and Doug has like the dentist kit and it like
I love that. I like the kitchens when they're like the full functioning. I like watching there's that little boy on, and this is why I say like social media can be such a good place because to me I think and how I use it, I think it could be a networking. So being able to talk to anybody all over the world and like see their lives if people did it properly. You can Google, or not Google, we talked about this already. Google will have you feeling like you're like type 3 something. But TikTok, like I can learn a hair oiling trick. I can learn, and that's what it should be used.
No, absolutely.
But
I should take back like that social media is all bad.
No, you didn't say all bad. You're fine. But it's not used for good, and it is used for a lot of people putting out fake stuff. So that's why I always like make sure people know if I'm talking about a product or something like that, it's because I've used it or I've tried it or I've never promoted something that has not touched me. Because why would I go online and say, yes, do this, and then, and that's not, and so like me, it's more of like a product base, but other people, it's like a lifestyle thing. Yeah. This is my routine every single day. I know you wake up some days and you're like, you know what? I'm going to sleep till 11. Like a rest or restore. And like, do you show that? No. Oh, well, it doesn't go with my aesthetic. And there's, all that other stuff. But TikTok, like speaking on a positive, there's that little boy. He's probably, I think he's probably like a little bit bigger now. Maybe he's like 8 or 9, and his mom bought him a fully functioning child kitchen where the knives can actually cut, but they're not going to obviously hurt him, but you have to supervise your kid, all that stuff. And he would cook, like he would cut the onions for dinner, and he's just like this little, he'd have his little stool, and like he's pouring the milk and it's spilling everywhere, and she's like, all right, I'll get it. Like, but that's like, involve your kids and things like that. I don't think
it gives you a moment to slow down too.
Exactly. And I do understand that sometimes, it's like, people, when it comes to like iPads and things like that, I don't think we watch TV growing up. We obviously, there is that exposure. I think there's certain like kids shows that can shape your life in a good way. Yeah. But however, as much as I always say, at the end of the day, to each is their own. You're going to do what you want to do, and I respect that, because at the end of the day, there's not a single the most richest person in the world is still going to go through shit. You're going to handle life how you want to handle life. Exactly. However, I will, for example, my little cousins, we went out to get Ritas, and we're in the backseat of my car eating, so I didn't want them to mess it up while I was driving. And they're like, do you have an iPad? And I'm like, no, but I have my phone. Like, because, they were eating and they wanted to watch something. And they're like, we'll show you like our favorite like our favorite thing on YouTube. And the first 5 seconds, I turned it off. I was like, this is not a kid show. This is not a kid's show. Why is she taking balls to the face? I was like, show me whatever. So they showed me another channel. And I'm like, this is not, it's like child porn. It's like, I'm like, what? This is what, and I'm like searching. And I'm like, oh my God, none of these kid channels, these things that are being put for kids, none of it is for kids. And it's so inappropriate. It's so, watch me buy 1,000 toy cars or whatever, to where now your kid's like, Mom, I want 1,000 toy cars. And I need, sorry, everybody. Wakey. If you guys weren't awake, you are now. And it's just like, there's so much, and we'll focus on all those things. What goes under the tree for Christmas? What is in the Easter baskets? Give your kid a childhood. Give them the magic and stuff, but also at the same time, like I said, are you being aware of what you're giving your kids and how you're building them from what you give them? Right. Like if you give them the same, I know, for example, Elijah, my little brother, we would get him a lot of dinosaurs because he loved learning the scientific name and build and having them in his hands. So everybody would get him dinosaurs. That's fine, because it literally is building him as a person. And like, but if you were to get him like, I can't, my mom, he has too many toys. So talking about kids nowadays having too many, but she does like good clean outs. Yeah. And he actually will he's one of those kids that's like, yeah, you can get rid of it. I don't touch it. And I'm like, look, you don't touch any of this. He's like, no, I fight with my same Marvel guys and my dinosaurs. So then I always get him, I'll get him like Crystal Rock kits, or I'll get him, he's really into reading right now. Can we bring back books? Because I'm a reader. And I finally got my little brother. He refused to read.
So funny. My kids now are at the age where they like sit on the couch with the book and they'll be like reading it. Like they don't read, but like they're reading it. Yeah, like they're telling this story from their perspective, and it actually is hysterical to listen to her like own story
of what she's seeing with like the pictures and stuff.
This is what she should be doing.
Yes.
Like, she has to speak at a level of like 25, but I'm like, can we like take it down a little bit?
But keep going. Yeah. But like you're screaming the book at. This is supposed to be peaceful reading time, and just like you said, just like creativity. Like give kids things to build their creativity. Why at a young age are you already making kids complacent with doing the same, things like that? I love, and I would see like, Angelina, she's so big on this is an example, and I didn't understand it until I think I saw it with Savannah. Savannah will not watch TV. Yeah. when we have tried working at the house and she'll be like, all right, let me put the TV on. Savannah does not care. She wants to color in our notebook. She wants to be in our computer looking at what are we typing, playing with our blocks, throwing her, like whatever. And I never had seen up until then a child who genuinely do not put the TV on. You're going to piss me off, except if it's Moana and it's 5 minutes of Moana. It's the exact same part. I was like, she was like, no, I meant it. Like she doesn't care for it. And I'm like, see, so kids, it's not, I'm sure there's kids that some kids probably like TV. I don't know. I don't have kids. Yeah. But is it really the kids? Oh, no, like he won't do this or whatever. Yeah. No, because I've witnessed a little girl who actually she would rather play with lipstick, her fake lipstick and her blocks and her doctored things and all that stuff versus watching something on the TV. Like she literally will refuse. She will turn the TV off on us. Like, so I think it does really come down to as a parent. And then kids grow up and they're like, my kids all depressed and my kids all, it's like, well, you have to, not that you could do them best for your kids, I believe. And I think still there could be things that turn out, whatever. However, I think if you do have kids that are acting out and screaming 24/7, it's not, he's just bad. Oh, he's just going through this. Well, no, but as a parent, what are you doing? Like when I used to waitress and kids would be screaming and so they'd pull out the iPad and smack it in front of them and then keep having their conversation. I'm like,
that's why they're screaming. That's why they're screaming, because they know what they're going to get.
And now they're taking 25 of my jellies and they're smashing them on the counter, throwing, you don't have a coloring book? Because what I was doing, I used to flip.
Every kid goes through a little bit of like, every kid's going to have a temper tantrum.
Well, they're learning their emotions.
Right.
How do you help them work through those?
Exactly.
Not an iPad. No. Not my jellies that I now have to go scrub off or like, I just remember we would take the menu, the placemat, you'd flip her over and you color. That was literally what you did while you waited for your food. You talked to and also what is the problem with like talking to your kids? I feel like so many people, I'm not like, oh my God, like, I think labels are stupid. So you get soft parenting, hard, whatever. I don't believe in hitting your kids. I don't believe in, because I grew up in an African-American type of where that did happen. Right. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that when your kid is having an emotional imbalance of like freaking the fuck out, that you are to grip your child up, throw them in a seat, scream at them to shut the fuck up, knock it the fuck off, blah, blah, blah. You're not getting this. And then you start threatening your kid. Why don't we because then and this is another thing, I tend to say my For You pages, because I make sure of what I consume on the internet. Yeah. There's this one mom, she recorded, it's like a viral video. You might have seen it. I don't know if you you're on social media, I think in terms of, I was like checking out your Linktree and stuff like that. Her 2 little girls, and I guess the younger sister was cleaning up and the older sister went to help and the little sister threw a fucking freak show. Like she was screaming, the whole thing. And the mom didn't even have to step in because the older sister, they literally have to be like maybe 2-3 years apart, took her aside and was like, okay, I want to talk about your emotions. I understand that you were upset with me because you didn't want me to help you clean up. But if you had just told me, I would have let you clean it up by yourself. So instead of screaming at me, next time just say, hi, I don't want no help. And the little girl was like, okay, I'm sorry. And I was like, if a child can do that with another child, can adults please? And actually, can adults do it to other adults? And I was like, and that's how you know they're being raised right. Yeah. Because when the oldest daughter was first throwing tantrums, her mom didn't scream at her, spank her with a belt, throw her in a corner or whatever. She probably sat there and said, okay, this is what anger is. This is what's that's childhood development.
It comes with also to understand that, I mean, as parents, we lose our cool sometimes, for sure.
Yes, because you also have your own emotions.
Right. And then you take a step back and you're like, okay, they're only 4. They're only 3.
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because me and my husband always sit down at the end of the day if it's a bad day and we'll be like, what can we do better? What did we do today that was wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of getting into marriage and parenting and being a team.
Yeah, which I'm so excited to talk to you because I have something I quoted from your questionnaire. I just want to see, do you need to use the restroom?
No, I'm good.
You're all good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to run before we dive into marriage and stuff, which I'm excited to ask because the girl is single and I feel like I just need to know what I'm going to be getting myself into as if I ever get into a relationship, but I can't even comprehend marriage. I'm interested in, I didn't grow up in something that I'm learning as I get an adult, and you kind of said this, and as you get older, is I realize like I've never had the example of a healthy marriage together as a team in my life. So I see it on TV and you see it with other people, but in my like day-to-day life growing up, I have no idea how that works. I never saw it. I saw people fighting 24/7. So our mid-break episode sponsorship, it's actually the Get Well Soon brand. Get Well Soon, known as the Get Well Soon brand, is all about feeling the best version of ourselves every day. It's the brand's mission to create content that's relatable and heals the heart, and merchandise that allows you to physically represent your true self. The funny, the beautiful, the ugly, and the rarity, all realistic aspects of being a human. It is what allows us to work and create within all and any niches that bring something good to someone's life. As you guys know, the Get Well Soon podcast is ran underneath my brand, the Get Well Soon brand. We have our new merch, wellness drinks entering our store. Our network now has over 300 members, and we recently signed wellness advocate and ambassador Alex Vanskyver. So this is our official welcome to the team. We are so excited to have you. You can always find information about the brand, the network, everything we offer between people in our community to businesses all the around, always linked on our bio and at our page at the Get Well Soon brand. So we have a bestie with the podcast. So we run anonymous submissions throughout the season, and we have had somebody who, since we started that just last season, we had almost 100 anonymous submissions. It was crazy. Somebody would send us in rapid fire, and we have no idea who it is. They stayed dedicated that even these past couple of months where we weren't filming or whatever, they sent us one on New Year's. They sent us one a couple of weeks ago. And it's like literally, so we say it's our rapid fire OG bestie. Like they're dedicated, and they do like really, it's like a mix between like such like McDonald's or Wendy's, or it'll be like something crazy.
And you still have no idea.
No, we don't have any. And they watch every episode because they literally will put comments from the previous rapid fire and then do like a new one. And when we were going out of season, they were like, all right, here's a couple. And they sent us a bunch in between the seasons. Like, I don't know who it is, but they're dedicated. They're dedicated to their job. And if I ever stop getting these, I'm going to figure out who you are, and I'm going to be so upset with you. So, I'm going to do it for you. They said this was actually the Happy New Year, starting another rapid fire. Turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Best movie theater to go to. I guess in terms of like general. Regal, okay. Prefer to shower at night or in the morning?
At night.
Ever been chased by a dog that wasn't your own?
No.
Okay, actually, one of these questions, I don't know if you're going to know because this has to be a local person, which I never knew until now. Holiday Ice Cream or L&M Bakery?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, so that's like local. Like, interesting. Holiday Ice Cream is like our ice cream shop in town, and then L&M Bakery is like one of the best bakeries, they say, in like South Jersey. I'm going to answer. I'll say L&M Bakery for you. The rest are about men, so I feel like out of respect of your, I will save them for another week because there's like about exes and stuff like that, and we're about to talk about marriage, and I feel like this doesn't go hand in hand.
Well, I couldn't even talk on behalf of my exes. I think my last ex was 14 years ago.
Oh my God.
12 years ago.
Well, I love that for you, though.
Yeah,
the fact that it was. How long have you and your husband been together?
12 years this year.
And how old are you?
Yeah. I am 26. I always forget my age.
Wait, it's okay. It's young.
Yeah,
Thrive.
I'm 26, and my husband is 28.
And you said 12 years?
12 years. I was 14 years old.
I love that. I love a good, wholesome romance. But the thing about it too is you first hear that and you think to yourself, oh my God, that's so like easy. They had it at 14 and whatever, and now they're with their kids and they're home, and like people will really, and then they'll turn that towards themselves and be like, oh, but that's not how easy it is.
No.
Especially
we grew up together.
I was going to say, and there's different phases that you guys would go through, and you would have to kind of like, you're not the same person. So you, at the same time of you becoming different versions of yourself, the person you love's becoming different versions of, themselves. And actually, the thing that I wanted to quote was you had said, marriage is a full-time job, but with the right person, it's worth it. What would you say? Like, how would you elaborate to that to somebody who maybe is not married, or even people that like are married and they're struggling, I guess you could say?
Marriage is a full-time job. I feel when you're parents. Like,
Okay.
I can't speak on behalf of marriage without kids because we were married when I was pregnant. Like, we got married when I was pregnant.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so maybe we can take marriage out of it so that we can kind of go back through just a partnership, just a relationship being a commitment.
I was with Nick for, I think it was 7 years before we got married. So, like, I knew him. I knew he was my person.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we got pregnant, but we knew we were getting married.
Okay.
Like, we got pregnant unexpectedly with our first, and because everything in my life happens unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And we kind of
just like keeping you on your toes.
Let's get married.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get married. Because once you have kids, I just feel like planning a wedding is just, like, hard. And, like, I just was like, I want to get married. And we had a small COVID wedding at the beach where we met. So we met in Wildwood, even though we lived in Warminster our whole life.
Oh, my God.
So
a little invisible string moment.
Yeah. So we got married in Wildwood with our parents, grandparents, and siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And then our friends came down for the weekend after. And, yeah.
But I think
so
to each is their own. Like, I'm somebody that I believe, like, for me, I don't mind. I know, like, everybody's different. When I get engaged, I don't need a wedding right away. Like, to me, like, you telling me that, okay, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Okay, that's the commitment right there. And then I think a wedding really is just, and obviously with, like, you know, religion and stuff like that, can be very ceremonial. But at the same time, I feel like it's almost just like, sometimes it's viewed in a winky way that's like where people are like, okay, I got engaged, like I have to do, and I have to spend $500,000 on it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like weddings, like, and I don't mean this in a bad way because a lot of weddings I've been to were so much fun,
love weddings,
but they're overrated. Like,
I think it depends on the way that you do it.
Yeah,
like be so wholesome. I think it should be something really, really beautiful that you're celebrating.
I always thought I was going to have this big wedding. I was going to have, like, you know, I don't know, almost 300 people at my wedding because our family's so big.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to stress about that. I didn't have to stress about my invite list. I didn't have to stress about the drama of who to invite, or if I didn't invite this person, they would be I never had to stress about it because we just did it, and I kept it small, and it was, I never regret it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and you shouldn't.
We say like, when our kids are grown, we're going to renew our vows and we'll go away like a destination and do like the whole big ordeal, but we make a vacation out of it. Yeah. Like, you are spending $30,000
fighting with everybody. This is my one thing. And
one night.
And the thing about it is, I'm probably going to spend a little bit because I do want, but I want a beautiful, honestly, I really want like the ceremony private. I'm very like a spiritual, I'm not like crazy, but if my husband would want it to be in church, although I think there's like rules about, I don't think I can get married in church. I don't freaking know. That's besides the point. I want me and my husband for the ceremony. I want it to be exchange vows privately, you know, whatever. The reception to me is just a fun celebration.
Party.
It's a party, and I'll spend it to where I want it to be, you know, nice and stuff like that. But fighting with your in-laws and the guest list and oh, well, can people bring kids? Can people, whatever. No, why is that what the wedding's about? The wedding should be about.
Here's the problem. Like, when you're getting married, it's never about you. Why would it be about you? It's your wedding. It's everybody makes it about them.
Well, guess what? Then just don't. And I think certain people will really like let them, and then their wedding gets ruined. I'm somebody, if I don't invite you, I didn't invite you. If you don't like something at the wedding, just go home, because I'm telling you right now, my night is going to be about me and the man that I'm marrying, especially for me too, because I'm like a little girl that's always grown up like, I can't wait for like, you know, your Prince Charming guy always was like that. And so for me, it's about us. Like, and it should be a beautiful thing of like people, because you can get married and do a thing with nobody there. You can completely not share it with anybody. Two people are sharing their love with people that they love. And also, too, I think like when people are like, oh, no, I got to invite this person I haven't talked to in 15 years. They don't even know you or your partner. And that's not even a bad thing. You could still be friends. But I'm celebrating, if you don't know the person that I'm in love with and stuff like that for the rest of my life. And if the person that, like my husband, if there's people that don't even know, well, why are they coming to our, the wedding's about us. It's not about how much can we spend and how much can we accommodate for everybody else's needs. So the fact that you did that, like, and it was meaningful. It was with the people that you love. I don't think there's anything, and you also didn't have to spend nowadays too, 30,000. Who even knows? It's probably, sometimes I see prices for things and I'm like,
what I'm saying. Like, and we made
how did you get to that?
a summer vacation out of it. Like we stayed at the hotel and we stayed with family and it was fun.
Yeah, I did, and like this is something too. My cousin got married in the Carolinas, north or south, north. I don't know. It was right after they had those really bad storms or whatever. So my family and I were like, all right, we're gonna do 24 hours in the Carolinas. We went there. He did the reception at I think it was like their first date. It was like up on a hill, or it was something that had to do with them. Their party favor was a deck of like playing cards, because he's like a recovered like substance abuser, stuff like that. And obviously drinking, they're sober. His wife became sober with him. So instead of like, you go to a reception that has like the bar and stuff like that, they had these like vendor trucks come up, and it was like a mocktail bar, and it was like so like intimate and pretty, and it was I also think too, doing it in like a beautiful setting versus like you can spend thousands and thousands to do it inside of this like room. But I love outside weddings. I think that's so like, just being outside and there, and it wasn't anything crazy. It was literally just like a gazebo. You had like your plate, like the plates were like plastic, but they were like cute plastic. Well, whatever. I mean, why do I need to have like $30,000 plates? It's just enough for you to eat and drink. You had the DJ, the food was amazing. You had the mocktails, and you guys all danced and chat, and the things were like the wedding favors was playing, like, I guess I forget what the correlation of the deck of cards was, but the cards were, the front face of them was the chapel that we all were just at, like they got married to. And it was like simple, like cute things like that. You don't have to, do a bunch of, but it was so meaningful to them. Like that's what they wanted. It was tied.
It's like doing things that you want to do.
Yes. Not for...
Okay, yeah, maybe this wasn't what I wanted to do my whole life, but I'm so happy we did it the way that we did it.
Like you said, unexpected, but your life has always put you exactly where you need to be.
Exactly.
And I think too, if people like you don't fight against stuff like that. I think when you like, if you were to have tried to like, all right, I feel like we should do the Wildwood wedding, but based off of this is that, let's try and do a full like, who knows what type of wedding you would have had and what the experience would have been. You probably would have been sitting here like, yeah, so I did a $30,000 wedding and I fucking regret it till this day. Like, right. No, you did it the way. And I think that's another thing too, social media, seeing other people's things, instead of people going like, oh my God, that's amazing for them, that's beautiful for them. Everybody thinks that they have to be somebody else or they have to do it some other way. Right. No, what do you want? And that goes for more than just weddings. I talk about that all the time. Stop, you look at somebody with really long, healthy hair. Okay, like that's beautiful for them. And if you want hair like that, then start working towards building your hair like that. Makeup, skin, body image, all that other stuff. It's like, okay, it's fine to look at somebody else's life and that's good for them. That's cute. Or even look at it and be like, I don't like that. Doesn't mean you have to leave a hate comment. Doesn't mean you have to go, I never understood, like, I honestly, like, unless you have anything nice to say, like, why are you commenting on somebody's post? Like, you are following them and then you're going out of your way to comment something horrendous.
Yeah. There's things on social media when I'm scrolling and I'm like, I don't agree with that whatsoever. And they're like I feel like they're like actually idiots for even like posting something like that.
And then I go, like, swipe, scroll. Yeah. Or even sometimes I'll hold it down and it's like, don't, and I love the feature on TikTok that's like, don't show me anything from this creator anymore. I'm like, boop, don't like that. I don't want to.
Right.
And if I see you again, swipe right up. I already know now. I saw you before.
I never understood, like,
because it's not about it. It's about and I say this all the time. Get well soon actually originates. So when I first started blowing up on social media, I would get like a bunch of hate comments, like just anything about it. And my response was always, get well soon, because you're sick, not me. Another thing too, like I always say, like 2 hours is so long, but we always feel like we fly through it because there's always so much, I think, to talk about that doesn't get talked about. One of the things that I like went into a deep dive after I saw something online is SUDS, the sudden death, and how it's SIDS. Yeah. Thanks. I'm thinking SUDS of SpongeBob. I think that's right. I think that's literally where I got it from. Yes, SIDS. And the fact that like I've always thought it was a disease or like but 9 out of 10 times it's just used when they're like, yeah, we don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no, you should.
Healthy babies don't die.
So what happened? And all this medical stuff we have, all this money you have for
their last well visit?
Like, and it's so crazy to me that it's normalized for professionals, medical professionals who do all this school and do all this whatever, that a kid suddenly dies. It was a mom, she was talking about how her daughter died 3 times, and they kept bringing her back to the hospital so she would go blue. They caught it all 3 times though, but the first time she just had stopped breathing, and they were there when it happened. So they rushed her to the hospital. They do all these checks, and they're like, no, everything's fine. She's like, no, my daughter stopped breathing. Like, she went blue, so something's wrong. Check, your daughter's fine. Like, they were like, whatever. So they sent her home. Second time, she literally had to, I forget what it's called, but basically like a last resort when you go for the chest, like when someone stops breathing and you have to like just hit them as hard as you can. And it actually, like, she was like the color that popped back. She brought her in again. She was like, I just punched my baby in the chest like she was a grown person because she was literally blue. Something is wrong. I need you to figure it out. They sent them home again. The third time it happened in the crib, she told them, I'm not fucking leaving here until you find out what's wrong with my daughter. Because if my daughter dies, you're going to say it's SIDS. And it's not SIDS. There's not some, whatever. I've come here 3 times now. Something is seriously fucking wrong. I forget what test it took. She did. She had something with like her heart, like a valve was like completely, something crazy was going on. And I'm like, how after 2 visits.
Well, this is where I say, like, being your kid's advocate.
Yes, you have to. And yourself too. I do talk about that too. When you're an adult and stuff like that too.
You have to be everybody's advocate. Like,
yes.
You have to be you and your kid's advocate, no matter what. Your doctor,
and that's a big responsibility.
Again, sees you for 20 minutes. Like, they do not know you best.
No. And I can't stand, I hate when I do go to the doctors and it's like, so what are your symptoms? And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you how I feel. And then like you start listing them and they're like, yeah, you're fine, like, or whatever. And I'm like, well, then why'd you ask me?
They're going off of a textbook. Like, and I'm sorry.
And how outdated are they?
Well, and every person isn't
the same. No. And you can't, it's like testing in schools. When you test all the kids the same exact test and they're like, oh, well, you didn't, and actually, no, that kid's a genius. You just gave him it didn't work for them. Right. Like my little brother.
My daughter didn't deserve fluids because she wasn't in the thousands. Like, you didn't care because she wasn't in the thousands for her CK level.
You didn't even, but if you're rerunning things, why wouldn't you have reran that? Laziness. Or
if she's getting worse and showing signs that her CK levels
shouldn't you be
rising?
Trying everything? Shouldn't you be looking at everything? And it's sad because a lot of people, like, I think, is the light on? Okay. First of all, I'm going to plug in your socials because I do know that you, like you said, you talk about it a lot. You advocate for it a lot. I really thank you for coming on here and like sharing that. I'm glad that you're comfortable too in your beliefs and like fighting for your kids, because hopefully parents who are watching or even people that don't have kids, it's like, I know this conversation will play in the back of my head when I have kids and stuff like that, and just certain things. I think it takes one conversation. Yeah. And I think it's really good. I always respect anybody.
If I help 50 to disappoint 1,
who cares?
I don't care.
And I love that you advocate for children, because I think that is something that I don't think people do that for kids. I think kids and elderly people are very overlooked. And I think that there's not an importance put on how kids are treated, how, things like that. And taking a step back from mainstream, online, or just what you're told 24/7. How many things have we grown up to realize are complete bullshit? What's that to say about when it comes to medical stuff like that? And we said there's no shame in medical. There's no shame in if you have a birth in the hospital, there's no shame in absolutely any of that. Yeah. But have the want to be aware of what you're doing to yourself, what you're doing to your kids, or just to anybody. I think education is power, and people should have a bigger drive to learn more, not learning like, I don't know, when you see like things and it's like, here's 7 ways to make him be obsessed with you. And like, they'll be like this crazy. I'm like, okay, can we like where's the substance and the value in the conversations being had, especially online?
Exactly.
So for you to be somebody that does that against the norm and stuff like that, it's not easy, because you do, especially in the beginning when you hear people say things and you
care.
Yeah, I used to, when people would be like, I have said that the reason I'm able to talk about what I talk about with self-growth and love is because I really was a shitty, miserable person in high school growing up. And so some people will be like, you were such a bitch, you can't talk about that. Well, no, I was a bitch, but I can talk about that. But I remember when I first started like really public speaking, I'd be like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or whenever I'd post something controversial online about a perspective that was not, I'm so against hate, like bandwagon hate.
Yeah.
So when an influencer, I'm like, okay, understand that they have to be held accountable. But at the same time, like they're a person, wonder why they're acting that way. And so I made a lot of videos like that. And oh my God, the amount of hate you can get.
Oh, yeah.
And me too, it's always like white girl. And I'm like, I'm mixed. As much as I am white, I am black and stuff. Like, you can't speak about that, or there's the culture part. And I'm like, and I used to at first be like, oh my God, I should take this down. But all those videos that we get a couple thousand at first that'd be hate, then led to me meeting and connecting with so many people that are like, thank God somebody said this. Like, I thought I was literally going crazy.
You can't please everybody. And that's just like even in life too. Like, not just social media. Like, you just can't please everybody. And I'm not here to
No,
please
it's your
everybody.
life. It's literally, I would say if you unplug your phone, your laptop, your iPad, if you whatever, what's there in front of you, that's your life.
Yeah.
Like, so what's in your home, how you feel, how you're moving, what you're doing, that's your life. The other stuff is just bonus. And you have to take it with a grain of salt because there's so much stuff happening around you that you have no business even be like that, and
that's how my husband lives. Like, he's just like, who cares?
like, I'm such a, and what about it? Because even if it is bad, or even if I fuck up, or if I say something, or even if it's like what you're saying might be true, okay, I'll fix it or whatever. But like,
right,
tomorrow's going to be tomorrow, and the next day is going to be the next day, and in a year from now, you're not even going to know what I'm talking about when I bring something up. Like, it's like, remember that time you slid up on my story and said, "Huh?" See, you don't even people. It's crazy how much people pay attention to other people instead of themselves. But yeah, I do. That was really. I want to ask if there was like one last tidbit if you could like leave.
I feel like we kind of got distracted. We didn't really talk about like the marriage aspect.
Yes.
I would have loved to dive deeper in that just because I adore my marriage and I respect my marriage, and I feel as though like being parents is really hard because you grew up in different houses. You were raised different. So now you're kind of combining those two like roles, and you have to become one. And it's just about being a team and like just coming together at the end of the day, knowing that like you did the best that you could and there's things that you can do better, and voicing that and just communicating. And I know that sounds so like cliche. Sometimes I need to hear it. Don't create a wall between us because that's only going to create issues. And he is really just like he's just really good partner to have. Like, just never like I'm just so glad that like we cross paths and we are parents together, because like he levels me out. Like, I have my ways of like thinking, and he's just like, okay, like take a breather. And like,
that's why picking your partner is so important, especially when it comes to kids, because how you guys are will frame how your kids grow up and like what they see. I know what we could touch point on it. I don't mind real quick because I did want to I told you that was like one of the things I was looking forward to. And I always tell my guests too, I always love bringing people back on, especially to like after an episode gets out, talking about it. So I definitely would love to have you on again. And I definitely would love to let's see what the engagement is of the episode and get circle back, but then also have more of a conversation about that. Cause I think that's like, for me, I grew up in a very angry split. So at the age of 25, do not know how to communicate. I do not know. I'm impulsive. I lash out and then I'll keep it to myself. I'm learning that to have a healthy relationship.
No, I think you learn that, but I think it's also picking a partner
that
like I said, levels you out.
Works with you too.
Yes. Like, I feel as though like my husband and his mom were so open with each other. Like, he told his mom everything. So he has this basis of communication that's just like great. Like, he wants to communicate. Like, he's my person too. Like, I come home and I just like
tell him everything. Like, he knows everything from, like, how many times I peed to, like...
But, like, that's...
Yeah.
You're
like,
sharing a life with somebody. It's you take... I think... You have your own life, right? But you also, that life you're sharing with somebody else. So you don't, it's not like, and some people will hear that and be like, oh, like, you know, losing yourself, or they're so attached, or whatever the word is that people use, or it's clingy, or it's whatever. But it's like, shouldn't you want to literally, I think when people, sometimes you could just tell when people don't like each other.
Of course, when we were younger, that's what everybody said. Like, oh, they're always together. And, like, even our parents, when I was dating my husband, like, I just didn't give a shit. Like,
Because you shouldn't.
right. Because we communicate so well.
Yeah.
Like, my husband, the other day, we were arguing about something. Like, we argue. Like, we're not perfect. But there's times where, like, I guess I just, like, don't want to, like, voice, like, what's bothering me. And then I kind of, like, let it go. But in my demeanor, he knows, like, something's bothering me.
Yeah.
So, like, and then it starts to turn into little arguments. So then it all comes out. And we sat down, and he was like, I just don't understand why you can't just tell me what is bothering you, because I know you better than you know yourself. I'm like, well... yeah, I guess you do.
No, sometimes
like, you really
your person does, because I think it's really crazy, like the reflecting that you do when it's like your person, especially because, and so it's so funny too, like when something gets said to you about yourself and you're like, and at first you kind of want to be like, no wait, actually you might be right, like,
right,
and you're like,
but I can't
holy
admit
shit
that he's right. Like, I have such a problem with admitting.
But he works with you with it.
Yeah.
Which is the really good thing, and you having the accountability in
knows
yourself.
He knows I struggle with, like, admitting where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and he'll call me out for something, and I'm just like, but out of all the things that I do, that bothers you? Like, that's a problem. And it's not. Because it's allowed to bother him.
Yeah.
He's allowed to not like certain things that I do, because there's certain things that he does that I don't like. That doesn't make him a bad person.
No.
Because he does 1,000 things right in the next breath.
But how do you guys come together at the end of the day too? Like, do you know, I think people who like will choose to stay arguing. I'm somebody that like I said, I'm impulsive.
Oh no.
Sometimes
let me go to sleep.
Sometimes I really will. I will bite my tongue, or I'll bite my tongue until it literally explodes out of me. I don't care if you are absolutely furious at me. I don't care if I'm absolutely furious at you. Whatever the thing is, I will have a point where I say, okay, I don't want to argue. I don't want to keep arguing. I love you.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
Exactly.
We need, and
we've done that before.
And because you have,
like, it's too heated right now. We can't have this discussion.
Let's take a step
now. But we need to go to sleep, and we need to come back to this.
Yes.
Because it's too heated right now, and I mean, dealing with anything when it's heated is not.
My dad always says it's better to backpedal to be able to move forward in a better function than just completely going at it full force and then you burn something out.
Right.
It's
because
better
then
to
you say things that you don't mean. Communication can fall behind very quickly, and if you don't keep up with it, then things pile up. I mean, it's like anything in life. Like, if you don't do your laundry, it piles up. If you don't do the dishes, they pile up. If you don't make payments, they pile up.
Yeah.
Like, you need to work at your marriage. Like, if you have a job and there's certain things that you need to do in that job, it piles up if you don't do them.
Yeah.
So that's marriage. And I mean, okay, people can look at jobs like, oh, well, if marriage is a job, then why do people get married? But, like, it's a job, but, like,
I think
something that you're, like, when you have your person, it's a job. Like, some people love their jobs. Like, I love my job.
Yeah.
I do. Like, okay, yes, I hate leaving my kids. I'm not going to say I love every aspect of it. Like, I hate leaving my kids, but I know this is what I have to do because I need
yeah.
to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Like,
and you love what you do.
Right. So it's okay. Like, I feel okay leaving them to do what I'm doing. It's not like I dread going to work. But, like,
I think I would say even, I know, like, when people do say, like, marriage is a job, there is that, like, negative connotation. Yeah. I would just say, like, it's a commitment, and any commitment you have to continue. It's the word, the definition's right there for you.
You're committing to loving somebody and
for the rest.
Yes.
So, like, there's gonna be
just like you're like when you have when you have a baby, you're committed to nurturing that child forever. Like,
Yes.
You are committed to advocate for that child. Like, there's so many commitments in life that can seem so intimidating. One area fails, the others start to fail too.
Yeah.
So like it's a vulnerable topic, but like if we talk about sex and marriage, like that easily deteriorates too after you have kids. Like if you let it, it will.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, women change. Like you have a baby, your sex drive goes down. There's things that happen. I mean, after you have a baby, you can't have sex for like 6 to 8 weeks. 8 weeks with, I think, a C-section. I don't know. I've never had one, but that can make or break a marriage. And like, if you let it, like, and that's where we focus on every area of our marriage.
I love that for you guys.
Make sure that it's done. Like,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, we started as us two, and we're going to end with us two. We have kids, and I love my kids to death. We both love our kids to death. We would do anything for our kids, but we cannot be the best parents if our marriage isn't going strong.
Yes.
So our marriage comes first.
Yeah, because that's what runs. That's what
I say. At the end of the day, we have each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is who we have. Like, and I mean, I can't even imagine life after like our kids move out and like it's just us two. But like, if we spent all of these years raising kids and putting our marriage on the back burner, then that's going to be a really shitty.
When you guys are about to be like by yourselves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No.
And I really truly believe that's why people go through like midlife crisis.
Yeah.
When their kids move out.
We're going to have to run this back. Some people film for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
She was like, no. We love you guys over the Get Well Soon. Angelina, she is not in the office, but she usually will be behind the camera. So she usually will be your outro, but it's fine. We have her sister. It's like having a piece of her here during the episode. And if somebody shared this with you, if it's your first time tuning in, make sure you tell your friend thank you. And we thank you for tuning in. You can find clips about this entire, hold on, I'm making a mess over here. You can find clips of this entire episode on all of our socials on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at the Get Well Soon Podcast, as well as always checking out our link in bios for our podcast sponsorships and just any information you need about things that were said in this podcast, as well as we will have Jocelyn's tags and handles so you can go over there and hear more information too about just like you're advocating for yourself, but advocating for your children and their health as well. Yeah. But thank you. Yeah. You're welcome. We love you guys. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Oh.